discussion here on the People's Program. This is today in the House of Representatives, an hour-long program that highlights activities from up Capitol Hill, making you to hear and know what your lawmakers are doing in the best interest of this country called Liberia. This program is on ELBC 99.9, several other frequencies across the country. It's been relayed on Radio Farmington 87.7 megahertz in Margibi County, Cotton Tree area, and also via the Voice of Hope in Plebo-Sadakan District 103.2 FM. In Maryland County, Plebo-Sadakan District. A repeat of the program comes on 6 to 7 p.m. on Friday, 87.7 Radio Farmington. It's being produced and presented by the House's Press and Public Affairs Bureau. This program features reports from our committee meetings with in-depth interviews and analysis about the country's legislative processes. I'm Rapport Haynes. Welcome to the program. Today is Thursday. It's February 9, 2023. It's the 40th day of the year. There are 325 days left to close up 2023, while there is 243 days to the general and presidential elections in Liberia. So 243 days count down to elections. If you're wanting to contest, well, try to put yourself together. Yeah, God, welcome.
Yes, a very good evening again. Thanks very much for joining us. And this is your program. We're here to give you all you need to know from the Honorable House of Representatives.
What did I mention? Count down to election, you start to laugh.
Well, I think it's good because we're in the year of election. And of course, that was stated during the opening of the final lap of legislative deliberations on Capitol Hill. I recalled when the speaker prayed that members of the 54th, will come back to be a part of the 55th legislature. And when His Excellency President George Weah spoke to the nation as part of the annual message, he also re-echoed and spoke about the 2023 legislative and presidential elections. So now we know how many days are left to go to the legislative and presidential elections.
That's awesome. Let's take a few bites of our team. Someone will come back. We'll tell you those things line up on the menu to look at on your program. Invite someone to listen with you. It's the program today in the House of Representatives. Thanks to the management of LBS. Great job you continue to do to make sure our people can get that information across the length and breadth of our country. We're back shortly. Welcome back to the program. Great to be back here. Yeah, guy. I've been a couple of weeks now, but we're back here in the studio to talk about happenings from up Capitol Hill. On the menu today, we'll look at the much anticipated national development envelope of the country, the budget. So a few weeks ago, we announced the resumption of the revenue component of the budget by the legislature. The Joint Committee on Ways, Means, Finance, and Budget of the legislature started with the revenue component of the budget. And just on today, the expenditure component kicks up. And so we talk about the budget of the country. We'll talk about the Ministry of Gender, Children Protection being summoned by the People's Deputies to speak to the increasing number of children, school-going children selling in the streets during school hours. That communication came from one of the legislators emanating from Bon County District number 6, representing the Moyman Bridge Menza. So we'll talk about that. And then also for reportedly failing to appear in the House's plenary, the importers risks the wrath of the legislature. We'll talk about that here on the program. So brace yourself. Too many things happening on Capitol Hill. We intend to bring it to you. It's important that we'll stretch more time on the country's national development envelope, which is the budget. And we'll tell you the processes leading to the budget execution and the scrutiny of the country's national budget here, guy.
Yes, very well. And of course, some times ago, we recall that the executive submitted the 2023 draft national budget to the legislature, and it's good to just remind the public because from the onset, I know for sure, and like others, legislative reporters, in fact, will state that at a point we had this fiscal year in country uh, that took us between June to July. But of course, following the amendment to the Public Financial Management Law, that was amended, and now we have a
Kalana year budget.
calendar year budget. So it runs from January up to December. In phases, of course, and so yes, the 2023 fiscal budget was submitted. So you know the difference now. We are not talking about the fiscal period anymore. We're talking about the PFM law that was amended to give rise to the calendar year, and so it's why the budget is being debated around this time. For some of you who don't know and think that, oh, we didn't used to hear about the budget being debated around January or February. This time we are hearing about it being debated, especially February, is because there was an amendment to the Public Financial Management Law. So yes, members of the legislature, whenever the budget is submitted, there is a procedure that instrument is read in plenary, and of course is forwarded to the relevant committee, talking about ways, means, and finance, and of course they will take seize of the matter. But it will be a joint deliberation. So from the Honorable House of Representatives, you will have the committee, and of course from the Liberian Senate, you also have the Ways and Means Committee coming jointly to discuss or scrutinize the budget. But key to the conversation here is that when both committees are meeting, of course, the chairperson from the Honorable House of Representatives chairs the joint committee, and so this term is Representative Thomas Fala of Montserrat County Electoral District 5, who is the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee at the Honorable House of Representatives, who is the joint chair of the Ways and Means Committee.
Right, exactly like you said it. So last week, the revenue component. So the budget is the budget how it works. The budget is being created, is emanate from the executive branch. So the executive present the budget to the legislature for scrutiny. So when the budget was submitted on the 5th of December, 2020, 2022. So the legislature was basically leaving when the budget was submitted. And so what happened is that upon resumption of the final section, they are now looking at the budget. So it was being sent to a committee room, Ways, Means, and Finance Committee. So the Ways, Means, and Finance Committee been looking at it, but then they thought that, look, let's have the revenue component. So when they talk about the revenue component, they're talking about the ministries and agencies that raised revenue for the country. So because the budget is projection, this year's budget is in the tune of 777.94 million. How are we going to raise this money? Is what the committee now thought to have the LRA can generate revenue for the country. The Ministry of Finance does the same. You have, so all these institutions or agencies of government that raise revenue, they are being called to the revenue component. So the revenue component is held behind closed doors. It is the expenditure component that is open to the public, where we have people from the civil society can come and witness the hearing. We have the media people will be there to report what is ongoing. The expenditure component, which kicks up on today, will basically see the line ministries and agencies that just spend. Because you see, first the people that can raise the revenue, they call them. Say, how are we going to raise this 777.94 million that is projected? So after that process, today the expenditure component, so for instance, they call LBS. LBS goes to the expenditure component, and LBS is being asked, you were given 1.8 million in last budget. What did you do with it? So LBS now will be defending her budget. LBS will be giving performance report. All right, and if there should be increment in LBS budget, it will be predicated upon what LBS has explained in defining her budget and falling short of some things that she needs to do. So on that basis, the lawmakers are going to see reasons to look, but LBS is incapacitated. So let's be able to increase LBS budget. I'm just using LBS as a case study, right? So
Yes, and very well. Like you said, it's just how it works on Capitol Hill, especially when we are talking about deliberating the budget. And so, like Director Haynes said, when the budget is submitted to the legislature, and of course, all of the legislative politicking I completed, of course, the revenue component, and he put it right because the revenue component, there are two ways that the legislature will kind of review the budget. So they will look at the line ministries and agencies of government that are responsible to generate revenue, the people who are responsible to raise money, to collect the money. They will call them and say, okay, let's hold this conversation. Now, mind you, the opening of that deliberation is done to the public. And when the opening session is completed, then of course people will leave because it borders on national security.
Right.
So that's why people will be asked not to be a part of it, especially if you are not from those line ministries and agencies of government.
Right.
So they will meet behind closed doors, and they will start to discuss on the ways of generating revenue. So, for instance, the Liberia Revenue Authority, we all know that they collect, taxes in country. So, the Liberia Revenue Authority will come and say to the committee that at this point, because like Director Haynes said, the budget is just a projection. It is not the physical cash we are talking about. Now, the line ministries and agencies are the people or the institutions that are responsible now to say, how do we raise the amount that has been projected? So they will meet, the Liberia Revenue Authority will come, and they were in present when the revenue component started.
Right.
The Ministry of Finance, will also be present in such gathering.
Definitely.
You have the National Port Authority,
Right.
the gateway to the Liberian economy. So all of the different line ministries and agencies of government responsible to collect money, that people pay money to, that we can raise money from, they all met behind the closed door. And
Talk about how to
they
raise.
talk about how to raise the projected amount for the fiscal budget 2023.
Right.
Now, when that process ended, of course, now they needed to call on everyone now and say, this is the time to talk about the expenditure. And he used LBS as a case study because now if Yega, for instance, was given $5 in the budget, Yega must say to the committee,
I was given.
how did I use the
This-
money? I was given $5,
Right.
to execute my activities. And so
I use it for
I use it for
purpose.
this. So that becomes your performance report.
Right.
And per the performance report, then it can trickle a further decision by the committee to determine what is embedded into this budget for Yega this term. Since Yega have $5 and Yega made some significant progress, let's maybe increase Yega's budget from $5 to $10. And so if Yega is given $10 in the new budget, the next year Yega is going to state how did he use the $10.
That's how it looks like. So right now it is the expenditure component. So the press bureau of the House of Representatives, working collaboration with the Legislative Budget Office, have been able to do some adjustment in terms of the schedule for the appearances of these line ministries and agencies. So just today, there's some readjustment being done. Today, the chairperson, the joint chairperson of the legislative budget hearing, budget committee, Representative Tomo Fala, he gave the opening statement, and because of time, we will now see the first presentation. Those that should have appeared on today, like the Ministry of Finance Development Planning, the Liberia Revenue Authority, they will now have to make their presentations on tomorrow. Tomorrow exactly at 10 o'clock. But just before we go further, let's have The opening statement by the Joint Chair, Representative Thomas Pankrat Fowler.
Honorable Minister of Finance, represented here, our family from the Liberia, LRA, Liberia Revenue Authority, my co-chairperson of the Joint Committee, Honorable Maurice Situma, the Joint Committee on Ways, Means, Finance, Budget, my distinguished colleagues, senators, members of the House of Representatives that constitute the Joint Committee on Ways, Means, and Finance, to our technicians on the LBO, our family and friends from the Ministry of Finance, members of the civil society, members of the Fourth Estate, to our citizens, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It gave me a great pleasure once again to welcome all of you to this familiar forum where we come to perform our constitutional mandate of the budget scrutiny and proof. As we perform this very important task, I'm obligated to remind all of us that the Liberian people are equally looking forward to us as we deliberate on the fiscal 2023 proposed draft national budget. The second since the country's transition from the fiscal budget to a calendar year budget, in such a way that we would derive outcome geared towards promoting and the wishes and aspirations with the goal of raising these living standards, their living standards. As such, I called upon all of us colleagues to remain very resolute in thoroughly scrutinizing the national instrument to the best of our abilities so as to continuously justify the confidence which the sovereign Liberian people have reposed in us. I look forward to you as our colleagues as we deliberate in the days ahead as we do the Liberian people business. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen of the press, we are pleased to inform the public once again. A few weeks ago, we were charged with a responsibility in keeping with the Constitution that gave the Committee Ways, Means, and Finance budget to scrutinize the general budget that has to do with two components. The revenue component of the national budget started a few weeks ago. That was concluded on Friday. Today, we have come officially to announce to the public on behalf of the legislature and the committee that is clothed with the responsibility to look at the draft budget that has to do with making use of the resources of our country, the distributions of the national cake. We have come to announce officially that the budget hearing that has to do with the expenditure component commence as of today. All spending entities of government are encouraged to be present in keeping with the invitations or citations that will be sent to you. The committee is poised if we work diligently and work within time to do the Liberian people business and not hold the national budget, except the needs rises. So we are here to work 24/7. The committee is prepared. We are grateful to our colleagues from the Senate, members of the House, the both leadership, for affording us this opportunity to engage with our colleagues from the executive in making sure that this budget is passed expeditiously for the forward march of our government and the expenditure of our government. We'd like to say thank you so much for all of our friends, the colleagues from the executive that made it a responsibility, seeing it as a national duty to submit to the revenue component of our hearing. And today we have commenced our expenditure. In a couple of days to come, we hope that you feel free, enjoy yourself as we have these interactions. Members of the civil society, the public, these hearings are open to the public. We have our formality, the tradition here. You have questions, you have recommendations. Our presenters will present the case, they will make the case, justify what was done in 2022, and also justify why they should be given allotment or appropriation into 2023 as they run these entities of government. So if you have any questions, you have remarks, you will be made to submit them to members of the colleagues. Thanks for the country is represented on this committee, the 15 counties. We are represented here. So if you're from NIMA, you have your colleagues, you have your representative or senator. If you're from Maserado like me, your senator or Maserado is here, and I'm representing Maserado. Leriwaji, Bomi County, and other counties. So thank you so much. We'd like to say once again, welcome and welcome. In keeping with the motion that was made prior to my coming as the Joint Committee Chairperson, I was told that there were agencies of government that were requested to do some summation. So I will ask one of our colleagues to restate that motion so that we can make a determination on this matter. Thank you so much. Thank you. You are once more welcome.
He's the joint Ways, Means and Finance Committee Chair, Representative Thomas Fowler there, giving the commitment of this committee to make sure that they expeditiously look at the country's national development envelope, the budget.
Yes, there are a couple of issues that he raised, and I'd like to re-emphasize some of those he talked about. The first thing is that the different spending entities are to cooperate with the schedule. Now, take for instance, the lawmakers are committed to doing the Liberian people work, and so they will be there every day. And he also stressed that if this budget or the expenditure hearings is concluded in town, is going to allow them to pass the budget in town also, so that yes, we can have a smooth operation of the government. But again, it boils down to the different entities of government. This is the time that you appeared, pair the schedule, so that you can give a performance, update of whatever you received in the last budget, and to state why you think this is appropriate that you can, receive such allocation in the budget. And I know for sure because it's coming out of time that there are a couple of suggestions, and some of those suggestions or some of those recommendations have already gone to the Ways and Means Committee, aside from the budget that is coming from those entities. I know for sure the I communications from Grand Bassa County, District 3 Representative Matthew Joe, to talk about buying or purchasing of vehicles for the police across the country. He also talked about funding the hospitals, and so it will cut across the Liberia National Police or the Ministry of Justice appearing along with the Liberia National Police to state what are the priorities of the Liberia National Police for the budget to cover on this period. I also know that when the health ministry is coming, they will have to talk about the priorities, and one of such, I think, could be the issue of funding the different hospitals, the different health.
So they will have to basically defend
to defend their
respective
budget, and state how did they use the previous money given to them. That was one. The other thing about it is the openness of the government. Like we told you, accountability, and we told you from the onset of the revenue component, the format program was officially open to the public. People witnessed that program, and then when it was time to go behind closed doors, of course, people were not allowed to go. Only those relevant entities of government that were requested to be a part of such hearing. But this one, the expenditure component, like the chairperson said, the chairman of the committee, Representative Thomas Fowler said, is going to be open to the public. And
Right.
so all you have to do is just go for the hearing. You are neatly dressed, and you have questions, but you have to go with good behavior, because you just don't want to disrupt whatever the conversation is between the lawmakers and the different authorities of the line, ministries and agencies of government. So when you go there and you have some problems, for instance, probably there are some facts finding that you want to conduct.
Right,
You can
especially for
go
some of you who run civil
society organizations.
accountability, people.
Very well.
Right.
So it's open to you, but you have to go and you do it peacefully.
Right. So just because today there was some adjustment made in the schedule, so today those that should have appeared on today, like the Ministry of Finance, Development, Planning, the Liberia Revenue Authority, Education, they are now to appear on tomorrow. So let's inform you that the Ministry of Finance, Development, Planning, Liberia Revenue Authority, the Ministry of Health, the John F. Kennedy, JFK, the National Public Health Institute. You are expected to report on tomorrow, give your performance report on tomorrow. Day 2 will see the Ministry of Education, the University of Liberia, the Wollen via Stockman University, the West African Examination Council, WIAC, and the Ministry of Agriculture. Yeah, I want to talk about day 3.
Yes, so on day 3, the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Defense, the Liberia National Police, the Liberia Immigration Service, the Ministry of Transport will appear on day 3. Day 4, you have the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Liberia Business Registry, the Ministry of Gender, Children, and Social Protection, National Elections Commission, the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, and the Ministry of Labor will appear as part of day 4.
Right. So day 5 will see the Ministry of Public Works, the National Road Fund, the Liberia Agency for Community Empowerment, LACE, the Ministry of Mines and Energy, and the Ministry of Internal Affairs will appear on day 5. The final day will be day 6. The General Services Agency, GSA, the Liberia Institute of Statistics and Geoinformation Services, LIGIS, the Liberia Electricity Corporation, LEC, the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation will close up the hearing. So instead of it will be now, instead of Thursday, it will now close on Friday because we have adjustments. So those that should have appeared on Wednesday will appear now on Thursday.
And Director Haynes, there's one thing to state. There are other names. People are wondering why I'm not hearing this other name or this other line ministry or agency of government. Now, is because all of the different committees at the legislature have been working since the submission process of the national budget, or the draft budget. Since the submission, the different line or the different committees, statutory standing committees, they've all been working with the different line ministries and agencies of government. So you wouldn't hear all of the different names like you've been hearing. I know for sure the Committee on Information Broadcasting have been working with the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, the Liberia Broadcasting System, the Liberia News Agency. So you wouldn't hear their names right now. So the committee now will furnish the Ways and Means Committee as to the outcome or the discussion between the committee and the different line ministries and agencies. So it's just working so that all of us can just meet their line in the process.
Definitely. So with that, we want to hold it as that and open the lines, interact with the public a little bit. Just before doing that, let's also speak about the Ministry of Gender, Children Protection being summoned to come and appear in full plenary, speak about children, school-going children, seen in the street selling, and also to some of them, they are being paid by visually impaired people to take them to the street during school hours. And this is increasingly getting to be alarming. That's the reason why the Bon County District 6 representative and Mwema Bridge-Menza wrote a communication and plenary voted to have the Minister of Gender, Children Protection. She should have appeared on today. I should have been deferred.
Yeah, so I want to talk about this, but I will talk about it in a real simple Liberian way so that
Please do.
Our mothers and fathers will hear it. So the Ministry of Gender, Children, the Ministry of Gender and the Liberia National Police have been called by the members of the Honorable House of Representatives to come and see all of the different programs. They've been advocating and saying that, children who will come in, maybe if you go to the interior and say, I want to take this child because maybe this child is handsome or this child is smart or this child is beautiful. I want this child to go and live with me in the city. That's a good intent. No one will refuse that because certainly people want their children to advance, and people will say, the hill I didn't claim, I want my child to claim that hill. So given the situation, people will accept that you take their children from rural Liberia or wherever you're taking that kid from to bring to the city. Now, but in as much as you're bringing this child or you're bringing children and saying that you want to grow them and send them to school. When they come to live with you, the government is saying through the legislature, there is a declaration, a human rights declaration that is contained in the Constitution that talks about educating children. So you cannot bring the children from the interior, for instance, and you have your children, they are going to school. Then you have the people children you bring from up interior. They are between the vehicles and they're selling cold water. Or they are taking the visually impaired people. I'm talking about the blind people. They're holding the sticks and going all along the roadside and begging, please help the blind, please help the blind.
When they're supposed to be in school.
And they are to be in school. The same right the other children have to be in school should be the same right that the other children should have, and not to be selling. So given that there have been a lot of different programs saying let's stop sending the children in the street corners to sell, and Representative Muhammad Briggs Mensah have said, with all that we've said as a country and government, we still see the children in the middle of the roads. We still see the children during school hours. They are still selling. They are still carrying the visually impaired people around. I think they should claim the attention of the government. So she wrote a communication to the members of the Honorable House of Representatives requesting that the Ministry of Gender and the Liberian National Police appeared before the Honorable House of Representatives to say to that body why children are still selling along the street corners. I know people may talk about the difficulties associated with life, but again, the children cannot be breadwinners. If you say you decided to born a child and that child is born, then you must take on the responsibility of the child. They didn't beg you. They didn't beg you to bring them forth to this world. And so if they came to the world, then they must have equal rights like other children. So you must be able to send them to school. If you cannot send them to private institutions, there are some public institutions that you can buy their uniforms and send them. But the other children cannot be going to school, and then you have the other children along the street, selling cold water, or they're selling banana, or they're selling ground pea or peanuts and this stuff and thing.
And then
it's
also
heartbreaking.
Right, heartbreaking. So let's look at
and it's associated with danger because they don't know the traffic regulations. Sometimes you have the ambulance, sometimes you have the presidential convoy, sometimes you have lawmakers who are going to work, and when the children are in the middle of the road, and then the siren is coming, they don't know the way out. It exposes them to danger. So that's why they're calling on the Liberian National Police and the Ministry of Gender to say what can be done to ensure that the children will not be seen along the street selling while their friends are in school. It's very good. The same way Yeka is going to school, Robert should be in school. That's what they're saying.
Right. So let's open the lines, and that's a very good communication, and that's the reason why Plain Irene embraced that, and they voted overwhelmingly to have the Liberian National Police and the Ministry of Gender and Children Protection to appear. And let's see what those entities of government will be saying when they shall have appeared in Plain Irene. Let's open the lines, interact with the public. I'm sure a lot of you want to join us here on the conversation. This is today in the House of Representatives. Call us here to be a part on 0880514096096, 08805140960, 07702596660 are the numbers to call us. Let's interact. We talk about the country's national development envelope, the budget on a scrutiny by the John Ways, Means and Finance Committee of the House and that of the Liberian Senate, and then looking at the communication emanating from Bon County Representative Meman Briggs Mensah on children selling in the street during school hours. Let's go to the line, take a couple of calls right here on the program. 08805140960, 07702596660. Call us. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the program. Let's hear you. Your name, where you join us from.
Thank you so much. My name is Michael M. Jabo. I join you again from Maryland.
Mr. Jabo, go ahead.
Okay. I listened to your guest and the way he discussed the budget. I think it's fine, but I have a problem with that. Yeah, we got informed by him that during the revenue aspect of the budget, the legislature go in committee room who is secret. And nobody know how to discuss how revenues come to the country. That is discussed privately. And I think this is where the corruption is being breeded from. Yeah. Because if you come to my community and you give me $500, and I don't know how the $500 will give it to me, and just remember $500 for you. But in the law, what is allocated for me is more than $500. So you have to be doing good. So I think that people need to know how much we got, who we got it from, and how we got it. It should be open. You don't come to us and say, oh, the expenditure aspect, that way you would know. But how we getting the money, you will not know that one. That is not transparency.
No, you are getting it absolutely wrong. Keep listening to the program. We'll correct that so you can follow it, yeah?
Okay, I will get something different.
No, keep listening. Keep listening and pay some attention. Let's go to the line, take more of the calls. 08805140996. Let's get you on 0770259660 are the numbers to call us to be a part. We said the revenue component, all right? Now, the revenue component is where you have the Ministry of Finance come in, you have LRA to tell you how fundings are being generated. Let's go to the line. Hello?
Hello?
Welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us.
Get you, Williams.
Okay, get you.
Want to say answer to the studio guest.
He's not my studio guest. Actually, he's the deputy spokesperson in the legislature.
Oh, okay. So we found the explanation what he discussed concerning the budget line and then on the issue of the children.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she gone off. Oh, man. Hey, man. Go ahead. You can call us again. We'll be right here to take your call. 08805140996. 0770259660. Call us to be a part. The country's national development envelope is under scrutiny by the Joint Legislative Budget Committee. This person in the line. Hello?
Yeah, hello. How are you? Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good day. How you doing? Your name, where you call from?
I'm grateful to the Almighty God for being alive. This is Destiny E.K. Seaton, calling from Central Monrovia this afternoon.
Go ahead, dear brother.
It's a good thing that the legislature always go through the budget line by line. We think that they need to make more emphasis on our security, general, our teachers,
right,
our health workers, infrastructure, and other things, because our security are seriously underpaid, and the health workers they are still also on a pay, and a lot of volunteers. A lot of volunteers need to be brought on board through the lawmaker oversight. And ensuring that after approving the budget, you know what I mean, there's a need that you make a follow-up. Sometimes some of the lawmakers don't make follow-up and make the executive through their various agency and ministry become dormant. So it's not about passing the budget, it's about you making consistent follow-up through the relevant agency of government. So hoping that the lawmaker will always do things in the interest of the Labrador. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, my dear brother. 08805140996. You too can join us. 0770259660. This is the program today in the House of Representatives. Call us to be a part of it. Joining us from wherever you are. It's great to be here every Thursday to inform you about the happenings from up Capitol Hill. We are right here to take your calls. 08805140996. Yeah, God, you were making a point, and then it was surely being misinterpreted.
Yeah, so I think if he's listening, what I said that there are two components of the budget. So basically, the revenue aspect of the budget is always held behind closed door, or the secret session or executive session, like he said. It is because it is the most technical aspect of the budget.
And at that point, they're not getting you money. They're only telling you how we're going to raise this money.
Absolutely. We're talking about raw data that are being, collected from across the general table.
Right. Let's take on this person joining us. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the program.
Yeah, Joseph K.P. calling from Chiquiji Factory.
Okay, great to have you.
Listen to the budget hearing, and it was so good because we are going to election. And this budget contribution should be clear
the both houses for their hard work they done. And when it comes to the lawmaker for Bone County concerning children studying in the street, it's one of the main things that Liberian government should focus on.
Okay.
Because myself, I feel hurt when I see children studying. As I'm speaking to you, I work with the district education officer at the office staff. So when I visit the school and I see children passing around studying, it really plays on me. So as far as I'm urging the government to take serious note to the children's education.
Right.
Because if you go in the interior to bring the children, it's not you to go there and bring the children to make market for you. They are not just money to make money for you. They are not money tools for you. Isn't it? So government, just take some measures on those people.
Yeah, we'll look to hear from the Minister General and the police.
So thank you so much for the show.
Thanks a lot, my dear brother. Let's take more of the concerns here by you callers. This person, Brown Tactics.
Yeah, how you doing?
We're doing good.
I want to thank you, honorable gentlemen. I've been following your started. Let me go to the Lemon Police communication first. We have to be very careful. And careful in the sense that I can remember when Grace Brown was superintendent. And then she said that she wanted to clear the children out of the street. They have dump truck, collecting people, carrying them, only to know that they don't carry them anywhere because they would not, take care of the weight bill of the children. They got to let the children come all they need. So when you do that, then you give those people who in those practice, you give them the leverage. They will feel that you have nowhere to put the people, but just to say you are implementing policy and those policy can be implemented.
So then we have to be able to listen to the general ministry on what she was saying.
Precisely, yeah, we'll listen to them, but they must be cautious because those things have been tried before. So you can do it with emotion, so you got to be very careful when you're doing it. And my another issue on the budget issue, I will really hope that the legislature speed up with the budget. They have to be careful because of the election year. The more the budget delayed, they will start accusing government. Because me, I know that people, they will start accusing government. So they will do their best to make sure and inform those various land ministry and agencies, and for them to, they will be able to go with the timeline.
Right.
I'm sure they don't inform them long ago with all these schedules and all those kind of things. And so you must, if you are doing a good job, it means you prepare long ago to go with those things. Some of those documents, they are complex, but we hope that they meet up with time so that the project can pass in time. So people can say government holding or NEC budget, holding the all of one budget and those kind of things. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Let's take more of the calls right here. Call us to be a part of the conversation. More of the concerns can come. 0880-514-096. We're discussing the country's draft national budget that is under scrutiny at the legislature. And the chairperson said, look, they are really prepared to work day and night to make sure that the budget is scrutinized.
And like the Internal Affairs Committee is, you also have the Ways and Means Committee. Each county is represented.
Right.
From the House of Representatives, you have 15 lawmakers representing the 15 counties. From the Liberian Senate, you also have, similar numbers. So you have a good number of lawmakers, scrutinizing
the country is
budget.
represented. Yeah.
Very well.
Right. This person. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Welcome. Your name, where you join us from?
Yes, I'm Zuba Koli. I'm calling from Pinsville.
Colleague, go ahead from Painesville.
Yeah, I want to appreciate the government with the way they started with the budget issue, with the open budget initiative. But I think they need to go beyond what they are doing. Like, for example, I personally have problem with the executive meeting that they have because that is the income. For example, I'm head of institution. When I make the budget, I try to look at what is coming in, what is being spent. And so if this institution like LRA, maybe we are thinking that they could be able to bring in 1 million. But then we get into the executive session, we know that they can bring in 2 million. The temptation is that we can leave the 1 million on the, income officially, and then the other million we can decide to do something else with it, in cahoots with. I'm saying that to say that we are all human, and the temptations are there. So what I think there should be another way with this executive session where they talk about the income for it to be open for people to know that, yeah, LRA is able to bring 1 million for the annual year. And that 1 million we can allot.
LRA is doing a very job. They even have surpassed sometimes their targets.
The executive session where it is among the people who raising the fund and the people who deciding for the fund to be raised. Now coming to the children, my next question is, I hope the people in the house will ask themselves, what kind of law have they put on the book that will help take care of this situation instead of just calling the gender minister? What kind of laws do they have on the book for people to take other people's children, relative children, bring them in town? If they find out that this is the case, what do they do? What can we put into place? What can they put into place along with us, even with students, with school administration, with the Ministry of Education, and the rest of the other relevant agencies, to make sure that we can prevent it, we can take care of it? Because it's not just about maybe you see the children in the street, you arrest them, and then you leave their parent or their uncle, their auntie that is now moving in the street. But what can we do? Can we open a program that when we have these children?
But this is the reason why they have called on the people for the executive.
I just wanted to ask him because he was asking as to the laws that are on the book, to correct those things. But
The Liberian children.
you just can't determine. For instance, he's calling, but if his brother was in Monrovia or so, or in the city in the city area, and he has requested, please send me one of your sons to come and live with me, will the government be able to determine whether he's giving this child to his brother? That wouldn't be the case. It wouldn't be the case until there is something on the contrary before he will get to know and notify the government of such.
Exactly. So that's how it is, So this aspect, it seems like many people think that with the revenue. So the revenue aspect is where you will have these people come. Say, look, because look, they think what they call budget. What here now we need to break it down now. They think they call budget, that projection and that money. Put your budget that you want to say.
People are rare. People are rare and say.
So they say the whole year for the year now. Say na calendar year budget we're doing. Let's target 777.94 million.
For the country to be able to work every day.
For the country to work every day for the major development work.
People must pay.
So how will raise their money? They call Liberia Revenue Authority that can collect taxes. They call the Ministry of Finance that can collect money. They call the National Port Authority. So National Port Authority will be very clear and tell you, say, look, we can contribute 2 million to the budget. Or we can contribute 10 million to the budget. So we'll look at the domestic revenue generation and what also come up from OXA. It is what now come to the point and pose okay, all the budget.
But you see, what that part is very key. It is because when you go there and people tell you, say, we're able to raise this amount, it can even influence the executive to submit legislations that will ensure that taxes are reduced or taxes are increased in the process. So you cannot have it open and people are reporting high FQs or people are reporting lower FQs, and then at the final analysis, look, you have to avoid this thing they call budget deficit. And the only way you can avoid such is when you are able to put all your broken pieces together behind closed door and you come outside and say, this is why. Now, I also heard another caller say the issue about collecting additional monies and then, people can be tempted. Look, there's another component under the budget that we refer to as miscellaneous. When money are collected, people send it to that account. It's an extra account.
LRA have been doing very well. Even exceeding her targets. This person, brand tactics, you're back here.
Yeah. I just want to make a quick point when they talk about the law, the legislation, what kind of law to protect the children. They have the trafficking law. They got international domestic portion of that trafficking law.
Right.
Sometimes some of those trafficking, they are
human trafficking.
For example, what you were saying, you hear then your brother say a child to you, but instead of accepting what initially you are discussed to send the child to school, then you using the child as a pawn. All those kind of things, child doing work for you and you're going to church go to school.
Right.
So if they find out those things, they can deal with those people under the trafficking law, domestic trafficking law. How do they see the child back, or they give you penalty?
That's why the host is using her oversight to call people from the executive responsible.
Precisely. Right. Yeah, that's it. So these are some of the things.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make a point when he called for the law he's talking about. Law have been made ever since.
Right. Okay, Brian. And the thing about it too is that fellow Liberians, as we close up this program shortly, let's understand that we have never fallen short of laws. We have, you see, the legislature is there to make laws. The legislature does not enforce the law. It is the executive branch of government that enforces the law. So you see, the lawmakers calling people from the executive, they're using their oversight. They're using their oversight role. So they call the Ministry of Gender, Children Protection, and the police to now to look at this issue. Why is it happening this way? We have fundamental law on the book.
Yes, there are
It
laws
said
on
that
the book.
it said that you people from the executive not enforcing this law, then the legislature now has oversight and call you to book and say, look, you need to do this, you need to do that, because it is clear cut that the legislature there to enact laws, and also there and the executive there to enforce it, while the judiciary there to interpret the law.
And remember, recently we had the 16 days of activism. It was one of the advocacies that people took on, prohibiting children from going to the street corner and selling.
Right.
So it's not a law that says children should go and sell. They are not breadwinners. Once you born the children, you should be able to care for the children. But again, the budget period is on. All of the different concerns that you have. This is why we're here to tell you that the expenditure process of the budget is
Yes.
open to the public.
And you can come.
Please go there. Every other day, please go to Capitol Hill and say you're going for the budget hearing, the expenditure aspect,
You are
and
also
raise
allowed to
those
even ask
questions.
questions.
Yes,
Right.
they will recognize you. You will ask the relevant questions, and then we can all put things in order so that when the budget is passed, it is a very holistic budget that covers all of us and will develop this country.
Well, thank you, Yega. We have to go, but it's been a quite awesome time together here, fellow Liberians, as we talk about the country's draft national budget. It's ongoing, like we mentioned to you. Tomorrow, the Ministry of Finance Development Planning, the Liberia Revenue Authority, the JFK, John F. Kennedy Medical Hospital, the Ministry of Health, the National Public Health Institute will be appearing beginning at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock prompt in the William Abertopper John Chamber. William Abertopper John Chamber at the legislature. Again, as the lawmakers have committed themselves to working diligently in the scrutinization of the country's draft national budget, we also call on the executive, these line management agency, to live within the schedule given you. Live within the schedule given you so that we can look at this budget expeditiously and have it passed for the growth and development of our country. Yeah, for your end group, finally.
Yeah, all the best.
Wonderful time here. Thanks to the Press and Public Affairs Department, all of its members for this presentation on today. It's been a quite awesome one. We look to you on tomorrow to receive you, people from the executive and also civil society organization coming to witness the budget hearing. Is open to the public. Members of the Fourth Estate is open up so that we can provide relevant information to the public as it unfolds from up Capitol Hill. My name is Robert Haynes. Just before I go, let's also inform you that the House Speaker has lavished praises on the outgoing Chinese ambassador. How you call him?
Ren Yushan.
Ren Yushan.
Yeah.
So yes, and, he praised him for the time spent here in Liberia. He's being recorded by his country, the time spent, the coordination and engagement with the government of Liberia. And so, well, kudos, farewell to you,
Thanks
Ambassador.
for the job. Well done.